Have you ever been offended with God for a horrible thing happening in your life? Maybe it was the loss of a child, or you went through a divorce, or you lost a job, or it could be anything from your childhood all the way up to where you are today. And you are still angry and frustrated and offended at what happened. Because why didn't God intervene and stop that from happening? That's a really big issue. I'm going to teach you a simple technique that can begin to change and lift off that offense that impacts your heart, it impacts your brain, it impacts your body, it impacts your overall health. And the good news is this little reset is so easy. I've used it many times. I've helped many people go through this process in some very challenging situations. So as we go through this, it's a simple process, and I'm going to demonstrate it. Then we're going to do it, and I want to tell you some stories of people that have found this to be more freeing than they ever thought it could be. First of all, because they never thought they should have to forgive God. It's not so much that God did something wrong, because he didn't. His ways are above our ways. The problem is we get offended, and the offense keeps us stuck to the issue and keeps us from moving forward. And that's not what God wants for you. He wants you free to be able to move forward, especially when difficult things happen in our lives and we don't understand that. So, little tip, you want to start and practice it with me. So I'm going to give you the text, show you what we're going to do, and then we're going to take a couple of real life scenarios that I have done and some that I have helped with clients. So we're going to tap on the tip of the middle finger. The tips of the fingers are the emotional parts of the circuits that run different electrical systems in our body. So when we're doing forgiving God for allowing, we're tapping on the tip of this middle finger. And the text is, my whole being, spirit, soul, and body, forgives God for allowing blank. We're going to do that 3 times, so 2 more. My whole being forgives God for allowing. My whole being forgives God for allowing. And then we do the karate chop. We take that distance from the end of the little finger, our palm, right in the middle, tap 3 times. So that's the basic little session. Super simple, but let's look at what we might want to look at. I can look at the fact that I was on a fast track in corporate America, very fast track to get to the top of in a certain year. And I was doing really well. I'd been asked for by others as a promotion into their department. But the person who was over me in this fast track program after I'd graduated from college, he just fired me. And it was like, how can you do that? I had stellar reviews. I had other people that wanted me, and it was shocking. It was at December. I didn't have a lot of savings. I needed to find a job in another city, so I'd be on a per diem. And I had lots of offense towards God. Why did you allow that? That's just wrong. Now, years later, I found out he was fired because of all of his discrimination against women. But you know what? That didn't change the offense I had towards God, because he didn't protect me. He didn't take care of me. So as I learned this technique years later, my whole being forgives God for allowing me to be fired from a job. My whole being forgives God for allowing me to be fired from a job. My whole being forgives God for allowing me to be fired from a job. Karate chop. And as I did that several times, it didn't diminish the wrong that was done. What it did is it took all that emotional edge off of me. And I began to see that that was his issue. How I responded to it was my opportunity. I was working with a woman in an intervention situation at one point in time. Very, 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 very difficult issue with her mother-in-law. Many years of trauma. And I talked to her about forgiving God for the way her mother-in-law acted. She said, I can't do that. And I said, that's good. That's okay. Start with something simple. So if you look at something and go, I can't forgive God for allowing that. I can't forgive God for allowing my child to die or for my son to be killed in the war. I can't go there. Don't start there. Start with something simple. Maybe it's just forgiving God for allowing silence to be in your relationship with him. Start with something that's simple enough that your subconscious, your brainstem won't resist you. I've been doing this for over 25 years at this point, and I have found that there's such freedom that I can pretty easily go to almost any issue because I know what happens on the other side. I know how much God wants to restore relationship and to help you begin to see over time from a different perspective. So, you might not want to start with a death. You might not want to start with a job issue. Start with something that you go, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Because the good news is you've got the rest of your life to be able to move through the issues that you have stacked against God that's keeping you from hearing his voice, experiencing his love, his provision. Looking back now, that was not the best job for me. I moved into a whole different area, eventually moved to Colorado, met Forrest, went through my own health challenge, and it totally changed my life because as all those things led me to Colorado, being married to Forrest, our daughter Anna, that's what birthed Lifestyle for Health. So being able to move beyond those old offenses, the old things that I held against God that I didn't think was right because it wasn't what I wanted, it has opened up the door for transformation in my life and transformation in the life of literally hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions. So there is a benefit. Trust me. Play with it. Now, if you like this, you'll want to finish up this series and learn how to forgive others. What freedom there is when you can forgive others and those issues aren't sitting on your shoulders or in your gut or in your health. I just bless you to be able to live life well, regardless of your age. And I'd love to hear in the comments what you've noticed as you begin to walk this path of forgiveness.